So yes, I did knit this fabulous shawl. Thank you for asking. Listen, this thing is huge. I should hang it up as the backdrop. Usually it just sits on the back of my chair. It goes all the way down my back. I love this thing. So cozy. Listen, my shawls are definitely going to start making an appearance in some of these videos, but we have a much more important topic to talk about right now, and that is, to absolutely no one's shock and surprise, Donald Trump is being called a racist. Now, I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump could do almost anything in the known universe and still be called a racist for one reason or another, but today he's being called a racist for calling coronavirus Chinese virus. So let's see, this is according to The Guardian. Donald Trump has referred to the coronavirus as the Chinese virus, escalating a deepening US-China diplomatic spat over the outbreak. After giving an address on Monday warning of a possible recession, the US president posted to Twitter, "The United States will be powerfully supporting these industries like airlines and others that are particularly affected by the Chinese virus. We will be stronger than ever before." China's foreign minister spokesperson said Trump should take care of his own matters first. Some U.S. politicians have tried to stigmatize China, which China strongly condemns. He said at a press briefing on Tuesday, "We urge the U.S. to stop this despicable practice. We are very angry and strongly oppose it." The World Health Organization has also advised against terms that link the virus to China or the city of Wuhan, where it was first detected, in order to avoid discrimination or stigmatization. Listen, let's forget the fact that today we found out that China is expelling all U.S. journalists. This tweet from Stephen McDonald. "Wow, all U.S. journalists working for New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post whose credentials expire this year to be expelled from China. They have 10 days to leave." Reason China is expelling them, I'm going to pause it, and you can just tell me what you think. Because China is lying about what is going on, and they don't want U.S. journalists, or probably any journalists for that matter, uncovering the truth and reporting it out to the world. But no, what are we going to be offended by? We're going to be offended by what Donald Trump is calling the virus that originated in China. And it is completely without dispute that it originated in China, except maybe from the Chinese, who are actively right now engaging in a disinformation campaign to try to make it seem like it originated in the United States, which we all know is absolute nonsense BS. But we're going to focus on this name because the name, calling it Chinese virus, is the absolute most important thing that we should be focused on right now. It is a critical element of this experience because, it's not as though, so many Americans are terrified right now of losing their jobs and what the economy is going to look like, and what their retirement's going to look like, and losing all their money in the stock market, and businesses having to make sure their employees can work from home for weeks or possibly months. Those things are like small potatoes compared to acknowledging where this virus originated. But listen, we can look at people like Sarah Fisher, who really, like a reporter for Axios, who wrote this great article about the WHO, really complaining about this name. We can say, yes, this is absolutely the most important thing that we could worry about. But what I would rather do is, maybe look for a way to find a bit of levity, because I loved this guy, Aaron's response to Sarah Fisher's tweet. The WHO should focus on finding a cure for the Kung flu, not what we call it. In other words, they should be Kung flu fighting. Guys, can I just tell you? Kung flu is exactly what I needed. If I'm stuck at home and my gym is not open, my gym was the one thing that made me be able to stay sane. Oh, these videos are going to get real fun. I'll tell you what, because if I can't go to the gym, I'm going to have to take all of my aggression out on YouTube. I'll tell you what. And so, the Kung flu is exactly what I needed. This moment of levity in this crisis. This is like, if you've been on Twitter, you've probably seen this called Kung Flu. I lose it every single time. And now there's this other hashtag, Kung Flu fighting. It's just like, this has just absolutely made my day. Now, of course, the media has no sense of humor. And so this reporter from CBS News, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce because I'm going to suck at it. I'm sorry. I suck at names. It's not just Asian names I suck at. I suck at all names. I can barely pronounce my own name, for crying out loud. But this person tweeted, "This morning, a White House official referred to coronavirus as the Kung flu to my face. Makes me wonder what they're calling it behind my back." And of course, this was deemed so important that almost immediately Business Insider did a story about oh my god, they had the nerve to refer to this as the Kung flu. Y'all need to calm down. Kung flu is hilarious. It is hilarious. It is, oh my god. I know I'm probably gonna be called racist for this video. I get it, but this is hilarious. In fact, I've really been enjoying this hashtag. This was one thing I found in the hashtag that just made me smile. It's funny, but I'll tell you what, this next one, oh, look at that. That is a thing of beauty. Like, oh my god, people are so creative. Like, taking the time to, oh my, just like, this is internet gold. If this doesn't get some sort of internet award, I don't know that these things even exist, but that is just a missed opportunity right there. But what I wanted to really take the opportunity of the Kung flu to talk about is not to rag on the media for being stupid and focusing on things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I wanted to talk about humor. I wanted to talk about why some people can get a joke and some people can't. And listen, one of the things that has really, frankly, turned me off from the left in general, and especially those on like the extreme progressive end, is they have lost their entire sense of humor about everything. Now, I like to laugh. I do. I like the non-PC jokes. I know I was a Democrat for a long time, but I still like those things. I like to laugh. I like to find levity in situations, especially in situations when I'm stuck in the house and I have nowhere to go and I have no gym to go to. I need to laugh, man. We all need to laugh. And what psychology tells us is that being able to take a joke is actually a sign of character strength. So this article, and we're not going to read the whole thing, we're just going to read a few call-outs, is from Janet Gibson, professor of cognitive psychology at Grinnell College. So she says, but research on humor, so actually we will read the preceding paragraph. Historically, psychologists framed humor negatively, suggesting it demonstrated superiority, vulgarity, Freudian id, conflict, or a defense mechanism to hide one's true feelings. In this view, an individual used humor to demean or disparage others or to inflate their own self-worth. As such, it was treated as an undesirable behavior to be avoided, and psychologists tended to ignore it as a worthy field of study. But research on humor has come to light of late, with humor now viewed as a character strength. Positive psychology, a field that examines what people do well, notes that humor can be used to make others feel good, to gain intimacy, or to help buffer stress. How about that? You think some people are being stressed out right now? I think so. Along with gratitude, hope, and spirituality, a sense of humor can belong to the set of strengths positive psychologists call transcendence. Together, they help us to forge connections to the world and to provide meaning to life. And that seems to be something we need a little bit of right now. There is a global pandemic happening. Wouldn't it be nice to provide meaning to life through humor? Appreciation of humor correlates with other strengths too, such as wisdom and a love of learning. How about that? So smarter people are going to have a better sense of humor. You can make whatever inferences you want off of that one. I'll leave that up to you. And humor activities or exercises result in increased feelings of emotional well-being and optimism. Sounds like another thing we might need right now. Thank you, Kung flu. But what happens? What is going on when people cannot see the obvious hilarity of a phrase like Kung flu? And yes, I'm trying to say it as many times as I can in this video because it just makes me, guys, it makes me laugh. I mean, okay. Okay, we're gonna get through this. I'm getting through this. We're gonna read these last 3 paragraphs. That's not funny, liberal journalists might say. They're a progressive journalist. God, I'm still not giving up the term liberal. I am hanging on to the term liberal. I am not going to classify myself as a classical liberal just to have that qualifier. I'm not giving it up. So, progressive journalists, there are at least two reasons that we sometimes don't get the joke. First, the punchline might create a different mental representation that conflicts with the one set up by the joke. Timing and laugh track help signal the listener that a different representation of the punchline is possible. Secondly, you might be able to inhibit the initial mental representation. When jokes perpetuate a stereotype that we find offensive, as in ethnic, racist, or sexist jokes, we may refuse to inhibit the offensive representation. Violence in cartoons is another example. In Roadrunner cartoons, when an anvil hits the coyote, animal lovers may be unable to inhibit the animal cruelty meaning instead of focusing on the funny meaning of yet another inevitable failure. The incongruity model can explain why older adults don't comprehend jokes as frequently as younger adults due to declines tied to the aging process. Older adults may not have the cognitive resources needed to create multiple representations to simultaneously hold multiple ones in order to detect the incongruity or to inhibit the first one that was activated. Getting the joke relies on working memory capacity and control functions. However, when older Americans succeed in their efforts to do these things, they typically show greater appreciation of the joke than younger adults do and report greater life satisfaction than those who don't see the humor. So there's a couple takeaways that I think we have from this paragraph. The first is that, listen, if you are hell-bent on being offended by something, you are only going to focus on the offense of that thing rather than allow yourself to just see the humor in it. Your focus on the offense and finding something offensive is going to outweigh any other value. And so that's what's happening. And we see that a lot happening with the progressive left online is they're so focused on being offended by every little thing. They're constantly looking for things to be offended by, even when nothing exists. And if they don't find something, they'll make it up. They'll find a reason for something to be racist or sexist or all this other stuff. And that's why they're losing their sense of humor. But the other thing that I think we can take away is, listen, if you allow yourself to see the humor in these situations, you are going to be so much happier. I mean, come on, man, you're going to live a better life. And in these stressful times, don't we all just want to be living a little bit of a better life? If you're cooped up in the house and can't go to the gym and can't do the things you want to do and can't see your friends and can't go to the movies and can't go, to the casino or what have you, this is the time when it's most important to make life fun, make life worth living. We're going to get through all of this, and we're probably going to remember how stupid it was that journalists wanted to focus on it, whether it's called the coronavirus or COVID-19 or Chinese virus. But maybe there'll always be a little soft spot in my heart for the Kung flu.